Well, that's that, Alfie. We done what Mr. Butler said we ought to, you know. We told the boss we won't be coming back. I want to be going into business and all out. And he came good, didn't he?
What do you mean, he come good?
Well, he wished us luck and gave us a fiddly each. What I've always said, Alfie, some bosses ain't bad blood.
Blimey, what's a quid to him? How many quids have I made him by the sweat of me brow? Ha! Blimey, a quid he gives us, and I'd give him the best years of me life.
Oh, well, I mean to say, Alfie, he never had to give us a quid, did he?
Oh, no, he never had to. But I suppose his conscience got to work when he's seen the drawn and haggard look on a man's face, and how old a man looks and how old he is before his time because he's worked himself to death.
Oh, well, it don't matter, Alfie. The point is we got a quid each out of it. Very handy for me. Straight away now, we'll go and see get the joint we are the chocolate we like.
You come back here.
All right. Hey, what's up?
Blimey, you're going to go barging through the gate, not worrying about who might be out in the street. Don't forget, son, I'm still supposed to be working. Blimey, what if Liz or someone happened to be out there?
Sorry, Alfie, I forgot.
Oh, you forgot. Well, let's poke me head out and have a look. Yeah, I can't see no one. Well, come on. And we'll go round to your joint before we go anywhere else. And I'll put that sports coat on. Anyway, it's the finish of it today.
How do you mean, Alfie?
This dodging round and pretending to be me own double when I see anyone I know. I mean, Dickie, I'm getting fed up with it. It's wearing me down. Now, when I go home tonight, I'm going to tell Liz it's come and I'm out of work and I've been put off.
Tonight, will you, Alfie?
Yeah. I can't carry on giving her no dough no more. I mean, I'll give her a couple tonight when what I got left then I want. As it was only Mr. Bundle coming good with a tenner for getting this dough back that saved a man, you know.
And you'll say you'll give your missus a couple tonight, Alfie. Won't she want the full issue?
Of course she will, but she can't get it. I've been getting away with only giving her a bit every Friday night, and I've been telling her I've been slinging the foreman to try and get me kept on, you see.
Well, you can't say that tonight, Alfie, if you say you've been put off.
Oh, well, I'll think of something. Anyhow, you keep your eyes open before we go around the corner. I won't feel safe till we get round to your joint and I get that sports coat on. Blimey, Dickie, I guarantee whoever had that sports coat before you used to eat garlic.
I couldn't say that, Alfie. I told you I found it in one of the rooms at my place after a bloke had done a moonlight flit.
Well, I still say he eat garlic. I mean, a man deserves a quid an hour for going around and even wearing
it. It still helps you to get away with being your double, Alfie, anyhow.
I know. The thing is, why should a man have to get all this fuss and bother just because he's made up his mind to turn up work? I'll tell you why. Because a man ain't a free agent, that's why.
Oh, well, you were thinking of your missus, Alfie, mostly, you know. We're letting her down light, wasn't
yeah,
she?
Instead of saying I ain't going to work no more, I've been breaking it down to her. Saying we're slack, getting her ready for me to be put off. Oh, well, if there's any justice in the world, I suppose I'll get me reward for it someday, for thinking so much of her.
You never know, Alfie. Still, she won't be expecting it tonight now, will she?
Oh, no, but that's Liz all over. I've been preparing her, but it'll still come as a great shock. Leastways, I hope it will. Anyhow, it'll give her something to talk to Mrs Bottomley about. And when they're talking, Dickie, they're happy. They are. Liz and old Ma Bottomley.
Of course, what happened was, when you was going to follow your Obbs to work, and we both seen Mrs Jupley start following him.
Yes, so I followed her.
And then I seen Mrs Jeffries follow you, so I followed her, you see. That's how we all come to be there outside your Obbs's work.
Yes, and anyway, it couldn't have worked out more better. With her own eyes, such as they is, Mrs Jupley seen my Obbs and Dickie Bart go to work. My Obbs with his dinner under his arm.
Yes.
Yes, and once and for all now, that will put an end to the lying insinuations that my Obbs wasn't going to work but was walking the streets. I seen them myself. Obb met Dickie Bart on the corner, and straight as a bird they went to work. Straight as a swallow, Mrs Bottomley.
Oh, well, it must have given you a nice feeling, Mrs Obbs.
I never felt more happier, Mrs Bottomley. I knows this now. While there's one grain of work left at my Obbs's place, he'll be there to do it. And I'll never forgive myself for having doubted him.
How, Mrs Obbs?
Well, I did make up my mind to follow him and see if he was going to work. I let myself listen to the voice of the serpent in the shape of Mrs Jupley. I should have known more better.
Yes, Mrs Obbs.
Yes, I've known all along my Obbs was the truest of the true and the bluest of the blue. The most truest, bluest man what you could ever meet.
Oh, it's very nice to hear you say it, Mrs Obbs.
Yes, discapable of deceiving me, my Obbs is. As a matter of fact, he couldn't deceive no one. It ain't in him. He's too transparent.
What about him, Mrs Obbs?
What about who?
This what's-his-name parent.
Transparent, I said. Don't you know what transparent is?
Well, has it anything to do with grandparent?
No, it ain't. It ain't nothing to do with no parent. Transparent. Transparent is something what you can see through. For instance, now, you can't see through a brick wall, can you?
Well, sometimes I suppose you could, Mrs Obbs.
Therefore, a brick wall is not what? How could you see through a brick wall sometimes?
Well, Mrs Obbs, I mean to say a couple of bricks had been took out, then you'd be able to see through it.
Well, my heavens, you wouldn't be seeing through the brick wall then. You'd be seeing through the bricks what had been took out.
No, you wouldn't, Mrs Obbs, because they wouldn't be there.
Well, you'd be seeing through where they would be if they was there, wouldn't you? If they wasn't gone. Wouldn't you?
Well, wait on, Mrs Obbs. I'll have to work that out. It's a bit fast for me.
Ah, pooh. Well, now, let me put it this way. If there wasn't no bricks at all gone from the brick wall, you wouldn't be able to see through it, would you?
Yes.
How?
Well, it might have a window in it.
Well, that still means there'd be bricks gone.
I don't see that, Mrs Obbs.
Oh, you never sees nothing. The bricks would be gone from where the window was.
But there ain't no bricks in the window, Mrs Obbs.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Anyhow, it don't matter. You can see through a window, can't you? But you can't see through a brick.
Yes and no.
Yes and no what?
Yes, you can see through a window, but you can't see through a brick.
Ah, very well then. Because the brick is distransparent and the window is transparent, you can see through it. Well, my Obbs is like that. You can see through him.
You don't mean to tell me your Obbs has got a window in him, Mrs Obbs.
Ah, pooh. I never knowed a more obstinative creature than you. How could my Obbs have a window in him? Has you ever seen a window in him?
Well, no, Mrs Obbs, but then, of course, I only know your Obbs to speak to.
Oh, it don't matter. Have you ever heard of anyone having a window in them?
Well, in a way, Mrs Obbs, in books.
Yeah, what? People having a window in them?
Yes.
What sort of a window?
Well, they generally call it the window of the soul.
Oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dear. Well, the main thing is, my Obbs is working. Mrs Jupley's seen it with her own eyes. So that'll put an end once and for all to a delicious gossip about him.
It'll hurt Mrs Jupley, I suppose, Mrs Obbs.
It'll hurt the both of them, Mrs Jupley and Mrs Jeffries. Hurt the both of them, it will. I can just imaginate them now talking about it.
It beats me, Mrs Jupley, that's all I can say. I'll still swear it was her Obbs we seen and we was talking to.
I do not doubt that for a moment. The fact remains, her Obbs did go to work this morning.
Oh, well, there's something funny going on somewhere, Mrs Jupley, and I'd like to get the bottom of it, that's all. He might have just started work this morning. He might have got frightened seeing us.
One never knows. One may never know. Just as one may never know what actually transpired to make Mr. Bundle's Miss Jones leave so suddenly.
Yes, that was a mystery, Mrs Jupley. I thinks myself Mr. Bundle might have found out she wasn't now good and got rid of her. You always said she wasn't now good.
Yes, and I am not by any means a bad judge of character. However, one day perhaps the truth will come out about a lot of things.
Yeah, I only hope I'm here when it does. There'll be a lot you'll be able to find out when you gets married to Mr. Bundle, Mrs. Jupley.
Yes. In any case, I have no time for anything else just at the moment, save the fun feast.
Oh, yes, the bazaar.
The fun feast, I said.
Yes, I knows, Mrs. Jupley. You means the bazaar, though, don't you?
I mean the fun feast.
Oh, sorry, Mrs. Jupley. It's been kept real quiet. Mrs. Obbs don't seem to know nothing about it yet.
She will tomorrow. I get the handbills advertising it this afternoon, and I shall give a couple of men a few shillings each to distribute them tomorrow.
Oh, that's a good idea. And have you got everything else fixed up?
Pretty well. I shall, of course, draw my Irish linen tablecloth during the evening.
Yeah. Someone ought to go and see that Mrs. Obbs is made to draw her pincushion, too. That's faded out of sight, Mrs. Jupley. She's got all the money in. A penny ago it was, and she's still got the pincushion.
I, of course, am not a bit interested in Mrs. Obbs and her pincushion.